Hey, welcome back. This is Wargamer Sean. We're going to continue our exploration of the Codex Necron 7th Edition Codex. Today we're going to do Fast Attack slot. Now, previously in the troop section, we did talk about the designated transports, the Night Scythe and the Ghost Ark, that can be taken as Fast Attack slot choices if you want to. So I'm not going to cover those again today because we already covered them. So let's jump into it. We're going to talk about the Canoptic Wraiths. Now, these are kind of juicy little tidbits of units that got a lot better in this edition, and only really a few things changed, but one of them just made them a lot better. And the thing that I'm referring to is their stats changed one thing. So their weapon skill was skill 4, strength 6, toughness 5. Wounds 2, initiative 2, attacks 3, leadership 10, and then 3+ save. So the big thing that changed is that they're now toughness 5 instead of 4, so it's hard to double them out unless you get a strength 10 weapon or a force weapon or an instant death weapon. And usually, unless it's in close combat, that's kind of hard to come by. There are a few weapons that are strength 10, but you don't really see a lot of them on the field. So, I think they're going to be a lot more durable now, because if they miss that one save, they still have a wound left. They're fearless, rending, and very bulky, which they were before, rending. The Canoptic Wraiths have a 3-up invulnerable save, which they had before. And the new thing also is that they have Wraith Flight. When moving Canoptic Wraiths over all other models, when moving, Canoptic Wraiths can move over all other models and terrain as if they were in the open ground. However, they cannot end their move on top of other models and can only end their move on top of impassable terrain if it's possible to actually place the models on top of it. So this has also kind of brought up some interesting debates. Does this rule basically kind of act like a grenade, where basically they get to assault at normal initiative because they ignore the effects of terrain? It's kind of a debate right now, and I'm in a group, or a local group in our local community that I started, that we do have a fact committee, and I also talk with some people from Reese from Frontline Gaming via email, and some people from Adepticon. And I think the consensus right now is that it probably will allow them to assault at their normal initiative, unless there's another unit in the group that doesn't have that special rule. So if you attach a Destroyer Lord to it or another independent character, it would probably take that away. So right now it looks like that will be, but I think it's up for debate. It's definitely something that kind of needs to be fact, because it's not clear and it's hard. It's one of those things where it's hard, and a lot of us, myself included, like, oh, GW, why'd you do that? Or why'd you write that way? And, a lot of times you write things and you're not thinking about all the different solutions, or you think it's clear with what you wrote, what it should be. And so it's hard. It's hard to write concise and good rules. I think GW has done a better job as the years have gone on. It's definitely one that's going to be a debatable subject. Just try to make sure you know ahead of time before what your local group or tournament's going to allow, so you know what your spiders or your wraiths can do. Because the cool thing about it now, some people, complain about the whip coils being nerfed and, making your other opponents go to initiative 1. Yeah, I'm glad I've seen the change, because with my NIDs, they did that with lash whips. I'm actually glad. I think the change they did is good. So if you give them whip coils, which I still think is worth it, it increases their initiative by 3. So now you've got wraiths attacking in initiative 5, which is why it's also important to know if you go through terrain if you're attacking at normal initiative, because initiative 5 is going to go before most Marines. So it's an important, that's why that debate is important, and it's important to know the answer to, because a lot of times you're going to be going through terrain and you need to know if your initiative is going to be, because these are actually guys that will actually go at higher initiative because of the, whip coils. You can also take a particle caster for 5 points, or a transdimensional beamer for 10 points. Each additional Wraith is 40 points. They come with 3, and you can have up to 6. I don't see them using a lot of the other things like weapons and stuff like that, because they're the main idea for them is to just get into assault. I think the whip coils are worth it, honestly, though. So I think this is a very solid unit and a really good unit, and it got better in this edition. I don't think anybody can really complain about it not being better. I mean, some people might argue with the whip coils, but honestly, it's going to help you. Yes, you may be going after some things because their initiative might be higher, and the old whip coils brought them down to initiative 1. I think that was a little cheesy, the way that worked. And I think this is a more fair way to do it, and it makes the Wraiths that much faster. So that's the Wraiths. I think they're a really good unit. The Canoptic Scarabs are the next one. They're 60 points for 3, and you can have 6 more, so you can have 9 total at 20 points a pop, so they went up 5 points. Their rules changed a lot. They got a lot more simpler. They're fearless, just like the Wraiths are, and they're swarms, which, swarms have their disadvantages, but they're also beast type of unit like the Wraith, so they can move 12 inches, so they're really fast. The Entropic Strike rule has changed, so now if a model with this special rule is attacking with a melee weapon that has a special rule to wound, a roll of 6 wounds automatically regardless of the toughness. And against armor or buildings or vehicles, an armor penetration roll of 6 that does not cause a penetrating hit automatically causes a glancing hit. Now there's strength 3, so they need that 6 for most vehicles, because most vehicles on the back are 10. It's still also helpful. It'll help them against... I had a game recently with an Imperial Knight, and basically a group of Scarabs took down a Wraith Knight in one go. Now, the average would have been about 5 hull points, so theoretically it shouldn't have killed me, although he did roll 7, so it did kill it. So I think they're a very good unit, and I think they can certainly do some damage and take down things that are a lot bigger than them. So I think this will be kind of like this and Canoptic Wraiths being rending, I think will be a real game changer for super heavy vehicles and like Titans, because they'll be able to do something and a lot cheaper. So their rule change, some people will complain because it doesn't get rid of the armor anymore. It doesn't reduce the armor of the vehicles they attack anymore. I think they just wanted to simplify it, but I also think it was a little cheesy when they would eat someone's armor and then they wouldn't have any armor for the rest of the game, or it would permanently reduce the armor value on the vehicles too. So I think this is a fair way to do it. And honestly, I mean, yes, they got more expensive, but I actually think they're kind of better because now they can wound creatures now, and they're not going to get stuck with them, and they can affect super heavies too. So the next group are Tomb Blades. They're 54 points for 3 of them, and you can get 7 more, so a unit of 10, 18 points each model. They come with a Twin Link Gauss Blaster and reanimation protocols. Weapon skill, Blood skill 4, Strength 4, Toughness 5 because they're jet bikes. Wound 1, Initiative 2, Attacks 1, Saving throw 4+, Leadership of 10. So you can, for free, get them Twin Link Tesla carbines, which might be worth it for the extra shots. I'd actually think about it. You can also give them a particle beamer. I don't know if that's really worth it because I want to, if I'm jinking with them or trying to keep them alive, I want to be able to snapshot stuff and not have to fire a blast template and go, well, I guess I can't shoot this turn. Any model can take shield veins for 2 points each, and a nebula scope and a shadow loom for 1 point each, or 1 point for the shadow loom, 2 points for the nebula scope. And these guys, these upgrades are probably to some degree worth it, just because increasing the save to 3+, increasing the jink to 3+, and potentially the ignoring cover one may not be worth it, but it's kind of one of the few units for Necrons that can do that. So it might be worth it to like take out orcs, or with the Gauss Blaster, if you leave that on, which I think I probably would, you'd be able to take out 5-up armor too that's hiding behind cover. So I think it has its uses. They weren't popular in the last incarnation, And so I think GW is kind of forcing us to take it, because in one of the, if you're going to do the Dicurion detachment, you have to take 1 unit of Tomb Blades. They're kind of forcing you to take these guys, even though they weren't popular before. I don't think they're bad. I don't think they're super great. The one good thing about them is they're jet bikes now, because destroyers and destroyer lords and heavy destroyers lost that ability. They're jetpacks now. So they are fast. Now they aren't as fast as Eldar jet bikes, but they can turbo boost 24 inches and move 12. So that's a 36-inch range across the board, which is nice for helping, try to secure objectives late game or contest objectives late game. So I think they have their uses. I think you'll see them. I don't think you're going to see a ton of them. I could be wrong, but I think they have a use. I'll certainly, if I was playing them, I would certainly give them a try just to see how they do. I'm still kind of up in the air with which we can talk about the detachments later, about CAD versus detachments and what's worth more. But like I said, it depends on your area. The next one are the destroyers. They're 40 points for 1 destroyer. Every additional destroyer is another 40 points. You can have up to 5 more, so you can have a unit of 6. One of them may be upgraded to a heavy destroyer for 10 points. And the heavy destroyer gets a heavy Gauss cannon, and the rest of them have Gauss cannons. They have preferred enemy, reanimation protocols, and very bulky. They are weapon skill 4, strength 4, toughness 5, wounds 2, initiative 2, and attacks 1, save 3+. So they got 1 more wound, which I think is kind of about time. I think that's fair. I think they should have had that a long time ago. They were so big, it just seemed like it was weird that you would just kill them right out. But as far as the destroyers go, I don't know, how useful they are. I think the heavy destroyers are a little bit better because they have a really high strength 9 AP2 weapon with a longer range, which is nice. Sometimes, though, it's a point sink, though, but you could have a unit where you have a heavy destroyer buried in there, so he can't get picked out or shot out right away unless you get a precision shot, and so you kind of have them to hide him in there. I don't know. The other use I saw of a destroyer is potentially putting a destroyer lord with him, because they're going to go the same speed, and either deep striking or zooming across the board, and just kind of being a threat in their faces, since they're harder to kill, and I don't know. It's probably pretty expensive to try to do something like that, but just something I thought of. The heavy destroyer, which is next, and we can talk about it next time. But the other thing I had idea mainly for them, but also for the destroyers, because the heavy destroyers are a heavy support choice, is one good thing if you're using them to kind of shoot things or snipe is that you can move out 6 inches in your turn, shoot, and in the assault phase, jump back behind cover and hide so you're not getting sniped at or shot at. So the jetpacks have their uses. I know it's a bit of an adjustment, and it kind of sucks to kind of lose jump pack, but I still think it's got its advantages as something that you can actually use in this edition, the destroyers. I don't think they're going to see the play as much. I like them, but I don't think they are as competitive as maybe the other builds. So I think we'll stop here, and we'll do the heavy support next, and talk about that. Once we get finished with that, we'll do another video with Lords of War probably, and then we'll probably do a final one, kind of closing stuff, and talk about some of the formations. Until then, keep on gaming and have fun wargaming.
Goodbye. 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 Bye-bye. Goodbye. See ya. Bye for now. Bye for now. Goodbye. I like bottoms.